It's a Tuesday night. You're lying in bed, phone in hand, and somehow you end up watching one of those videos. How I made $2 million before I turned 25. And for a second, this weird mix of feelings hits you. Part of you is interested. Part of you is skeptical. And part of you is just a little tired. Because you've been doing the right things, sort of. And it still doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. You're not broke. You're not reckless. But you're also not where you thought you'd be by now. And you can't quite figure out why. I get that feeling. I've spent a lot of time thinking about why smart, hardworking people stay stuck financially. Not because they're lazy, not because they're irresponsible, but because nobody ever gave them a clear, realistic picture of how wealth actually builds. So that's what I want to do today. Not the overnight story. Not the 40-year wait-and-see version that makes your eyes glaze over before you even finish the sentence. There's a middle path, a realistic one, and 5 years is genuinely enough time to change your financial life. Not become a billionaire, but actually transform where you stand. Let me walk you through exactly how. The first thing most people get wrong, and I mean most people, including a lot of people who think they're being responsible, is believing that saving is the engine. It's not. Saving matters. But here's the thing. If your income stays flat, saving alone is like trying to fill a swimming pool with a teaspoon. Technically possible. Just completely demoralizing and almost certain to stall before you get anywhere meaningful. Right now, you might be thinking, I've been told to cut my spending, budget everything, skip the lattes. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying it's incomplete. Cutting expenses has a floor. You can only cut so much before you're miserable and your quality of life is gone. But income has no ceiling. And that asymmetry is everything. Think about two people. Both start at $50,000 a year. Person A gets disciplined, saves 15% of every paycheck, tracks every dollar, never eats out. Person B does something different. They spend the next 18 months investing in themselves, a skill their industry actually pays for, a certification, a lateral move to a company that compensates better, one good negotiation conversation. By year 2, Person B is making $75,000 a year. Now they save 20% of a much bigger number. Person A is putting away $625 a month. Person B is putting away $1,250 a month. Same starting salary, same discipline, but one of them spent their time growing the input, not just shrinking the output. Over 5 years, that gap doesn't just grow, it compounds. And here's a real data point that backs this up. The Bureau of Labor Statistics has tracked this for years. People who switch jobs see their salary increase by an average of 10 to 20%. People who stay at the same company get 3 to 5%. If they're lucky, if the economy's good, if their manager remembers to advocate for them. That's not a coincidence. That's the structure of how compensation actually works. Companies budget for retention. They don't budget for your ambition. You're not being disloyal by understanding that. You're just being informed. If this is clicking for you, hit subscribe. I put out one video a week that tries to cut through the noise and give you something concrete. It genuinely means a lot when people find it useful. Now here's where most income growth stories completely fall apart. And this is the part that almost nobody talks about honestly. It's called lifestyle inflation. And look, before you roll your eyes, I want to be really clear. This is not a character flaw. It's not a discipline problem. It's just how human brains are wired. Scientists call it hedonic adaptation. And basically what it means is this. Every time your circumstances improve, your brain treats that improvement as the new baseline, the new normal. What felt like a luxury becomes a necessity in about 6 months. You make more, you spend more, the savings number barely moves, and you're left wondering why you still feel financially stuck, even though you got 3 raises in 4 years. This is why people making 120 grand a year sometimes have less in savings than people making 70 grand. It's not stupidity. It's a very predictable psychological pattern that nobody warned them about. The fix is genuinely simple, not easy, but simple. Save half of every raise before your lifestyle can catch up to it. That's the whole rule. If you get a $500 a month raise, $250 goes directly into savings or investments the same day the raise kicks in. Automate it if you can. You still get to enjoy the upgrade. You're not living like a monk. You're just not letting your entire financial progress get quietly absorbed by a slightly nicer apartment and a streaming service you forgot you subscribed to. This one habit, consistently applied over 5 years of income growth, is what actually separates people who earn more from people who build wealth. Those are two completely different things, and most people never realize there's even a distinction. Now, let me make the numbers concrete, because abstract math doesn't stick. Say you're saving $300 a month right now. You put it into a basic diversified index fund. Historically, the S&P 500 has returned around 10% annually over long periods. Not every year, not guaranteed, but that's the long-run number people generally reference. After 5 years at $300 a month, you have roughly $23,000. That's real money, but it's probably not the number that changes your life. Now, take the same person, same starting point, who spends those 5 years growing their income and applying the save half the raise rule. By year 2, they've gotten to $1,000 a month in savings. They hold that for the remaining 3 years. After 5 years, they're looking at somewhere around $75,000 to $80,000 in invested assets. Same discipline, same market, completely different outcome, just because they treated income as a variable instead of a fixed fact. I watched someone do almost exactly this. My friend Marcus was making $52,000 as a project coordinator. Smart guy, responsible with money. But he had this thing where he kept saying he'd start investing seriously when he had more money. 5 years ago, he stopped waiting. He got a project management certification over 6 months of evenings and weekends, switched companies, got a counteroffer from his old employer, switched again, raised his salary from 52 grand to 85 grand in about 3 years. Every raise, half went straight to investments. Boring, diversified index funds. Every single month, without exception, even the months that were tight, even the months where something came up. Last year, he crossed $80,000 in invested assets. He didn't flip houses. He didn't start a dropshipping business. He just got clear on the framework and stayed consistent long enough for it to actually work. That's the story. And honestly, it's less exciting than the YouTube thumbnails. But it's real, and it's repeatable. So here's the full picture, as simply as I can put it. Step 1, grow your income. That's the engine, and without it, everything else moves in slow motion. Step 2, protect against lifestyle inflation. That's the discipline that keeps the engine's output from just evaporating. Step 3, invest the difference consistently. Decriskim. That's how you build the machine that eventually works for you instead of you working for it. Step 4, stay the course for 5 years. And this is the hardest one, not because it requires anything complicated, but because consistency over time feels invisible right up until it doesn't. The thing about 5 years is that it doesn't feel like a long time when you're looking back at it. But when you're at the start, it can feel like forever. What I've found is that the people who succeed aren't the ones who stay motivated every single day. Because nobody does. They're the ones who built a system simple enough that it keeps running, even when motivation disappears. 5 years from now is coming, whether you're ready or not. That's just time doing what time does. The question isn't whether it arrives. It's what your financial life looks like when it does. And the decision that changes that answer isn't complicated. It's just clear. Start with income. Protect the gap. Invest consistently. Give it time. The door is already there. You just have to walk through it. I'm curious. Where do you want your finances to be in 5 years? Let me know in the comments.